I'm Gab, he's Jules. Blue skies over West London, bluer skies still over North London because Tottenham Hotspur win away to Manchester City again. We're going to get into that in a minute, but Jules, there's so much going on this evening. I mean, you don't even know where to start. Obviously, the Bundesliga kicking off, Serie A kicking off, Real Madrid winning, and how about that Max Dowman? We'll get to him. We'll get to him. But let's start at the Etihad because... All right, let's go. Get the joke out of the way. Ha ha ha. Tottenham witchcraft. Oh, they always beat City. Ha ha ha. Okay, fine. But this was different, right? The different coach, different players in many ways. And it's impossible not to make the narrative as 2-0 win, I think, about the goalkeeper. Because Ederson, who's been rumored to be on his way out, he only has a year left on his contract, hasn't extended. There's interest from Galatasaray. He was on the bench.
Yeah.
James Trafford started. James Trafford, 22 years old, the most expensive British goalkeeper in history, came over from Burnley. And then, of course, there's the Donnarumma elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Fabrizio Romano and many others reporting that he has a deal in place with Manchester City. They still need to negotiate. And so the last thing you want if you're James Trafford is to have an iffy performance. And that's kind of what happened. Certainly in the second goal, Tijani Reinders, he plays the ball to him when he shouldn't have.
Yeah, to Nico. Yeah.
The first goal also not exceptional. I mean, he gets a hand to it. I mean, would have been a difficult save, but
yeah.
So this changes the narrative a little, does it?
Yeah, it does. There's mistakes all around from City on the first goal, on the second goal. The second goal is Trafford's mistakes. Really, there's never a pass there for Nico. He should never have tried even that pass, never even have thought about making it, and he did. And after that, it's just a disaster, and Palhinha scores to make it 2-0. The first one is more his defense that kind of lets him down, but you're right.
And there's a slip, too, from Ruben Diaz.
Yeah, Stones. So Diaz misses the header with Sarr, and then Stones, who tries to play offside, which on Richarlison, probably not the smartest idea either, then slips. And then Rico Lewis, who clearly can see where Brian Johnson is and then forgets where he is late on his tackle, and then it's a tap in for Johnson, really. So there's a lot of things that I think City needs to improve on defensively, and those mistakes will cost you whoever you are, whoever you play against. And that was not helped by the Trafford. That never really looked not much serenity, I thought, in his play.
Which is hard. I mean, you can understand when you're 22 years old, you're back, you've been at Burnley the last 2 seasons, and you read the papers as well as anybody. You know the situation that's going on. It's your first home game. We're gonna go back to this. Although quickly, let's get, as they like to say in Spain, the sensation. Your sense, if you had to guess, finger in the wind, will Donnarumma be a City player come September 2nd?
Yeah, I think so, 100%.
All right, I'm gonna go closer to 60%. But we have to talk about Spurs as well, because 3 different games, 3 different lineups, 3 different approaches. In this one, they went and they were very aggressive, pressing with the front 3 plus Pape Sarr. I have to say, though, that before City despair, 2 big mistakes leading to 2 goals. If you take those errors out of it, City bossed this game in terms of expected goals, 1.65 to, I think, 0.6. They had those chances with Marmoush. They had the Haaland header.
Yeah.
City weren't that bad, even with all these deficiencies.
No. Yeah, you're right. And Pep is right. After the game, I think he's still not clicking completely. We saw Shirky with his first start in the Premier League. Only lasted 50-odd minutes. He needs more time. There were some good things. Others were a bit too neutral, maybe. Maybe his position play is not at the right level yet to play in this team. Marmoush on the left, I'm not sure. On the right, I mean, there was not enough from Oscar Bob. I thought Enrico Lewis coming inside too. So there was a lot of things. Nouri coming off after 20 minutes. There was a lot of things that disturbed probably the rhythm of City, the rhythm that is not there yet anyway. But you're right, it's not all bad. It will just take a bit of time because there's a lot of new players. Reinders was not as good as he was against Wolves because the opposition was better. They suffered against the high aggressive press from Spurs and all those players running everywhere, and the 2 centre-backs, Romero and Van de Ven, following everybody around. It was very difficult for City to get out of that, which is unusual because usually they are very good at beating your press.
I think a lot of this is on Pep. And I think he got outcoached in this game.
I don't think so.
The insistence, well, we'll break that down further on the
Yeah.
Gavin Jones podcast, but I will give you the reason why. The insistence on building up from the back, putting Nico in that position. You need somebody more press resistant. This was a game for Bernardo Silva, I thought. All right, Jules, let's stick with this because I sense another disagreement coming on.
Yeah.
So, look, obviously the reason City, I mean, we've said it, right? City had enough chances to score. They could have scored 2 or 3 goals in this game, and the 2 goals that they gave up were free goals.
Yeah.
However, let me outline my case, though.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and before I put the disclaimer in there, he's Pep Guardiola. He's won everything. He's one of the GOATs. The other guy is a guy with 2 first names, okay? But in this game, Pep made things unnecessarily harder for himself. And in that sense, I think he got outcoached. When you see that they're going to kind of play that 3+1 high press, you need press resistant players. So obviously Stones is that. Rico Lewis, maybe. Ait Nori, not so much, but then he goes out. And then Ake comes in, who's obviously not press resistant. And that puts a lot of strain on Nico, who I don't think is particularly good, as you know. Maybe if Rodri's there, you can get away with a 4-1-4-1. So that would be one point. And the other point is, all right, James Trafford came through the youth ranks at Manchester City. So presumably, you know, they all comfortable on the ball, blah, blah, blah. Equally, he's a dude who's 6'6", and he played for a team last year in Burnley, who I didn't watch very much, but people who did told me that it's not like they were playing out with the back and he was being Beckenbauer. So why put him in that situation? If you know if you know they're pressing you high, why play out from the back in this game? Maybe he's not ready for it. And I thought, and it wasn't just the second goal. There were other situations when he did not look comfortable. So why not tweak your plan?
But no, I mean, they played long on Haaland a few times. That was clearly the plan. I think on the second goal, I don't really know what he sees in that pass for Nico. There's no pass there, but I think you try as much as you can to build up from the back. And you know they're going to press you high. Pep had prepared for it. It's always what Thomas Frank does when he comes to the Etihad. Even with Brentford, it was the same. So you just know exactly what's going to happen. And you know that it will be a man-to-man high press from Spurs. So that's why you play long on Haaland a lot. That's why you don't try always to build up from the back. Okay, they tried once and it was wrong and they paid for it. But I don't think it was that bad. And again, as you said, Gabby, outside of the 2 goals that came from City mistakes more than anything else, Spurs have nothing. And actually Spurs didn't recover that ball that high that much. There's one when that free kick that Pedro Porro takes, when Haaland chested the ball down and then doesn't look around and gets done by Romero and Richarlison. But then, so they didn't lose that too much. It's just they knew it would be aggressive. They knew they had to play long. They play long quite well. And you need a defensive midfielder there. You can't have Reinders and Bernardo Silva playing against a team like Spurs in the way the Spurs played on Saturday.
I was going to suggest Bernardo Silva with Reinders. I was going to suggest
Bernardo Silva with who? You said Nico should not have played.
No. I don't think Nico's good. No, you have to have Nico in there, right?
So no Reinders.
No Shirky in this game.
Oh, but no, that's exactly what you need against a team that press.
I think Bernardo Silva, who's older, who's more settled into the team,
might
have made more of a difference there.
No, I think Shirky, exactly, and that's why Shirky dropped a lot. Not because
Shirky came off, by the way.
Yeah, after 55 minutes, which I think is fair, to be fair, because I think he was maybe not right there. Bernardo Silva had a shocking entrance, by the way.
Yeah, he does not look good.
I don't think Bernardo Silva was the answer, but we saw Shirky in that first half, a lot of Guardiola messages to him was just like, I need you to drop as well to beat that press. So I knew he was going to start. I thought it was a good idea to start him. Maybe he was not at the level he should have been. And again, it's his first time in the Premier League. I think he was overwhelmed by the intensity of this game, which is very different to Ligue 1 and very different to anything that Ryan, I think, had experienced before. And there's a few times in the first half where City are pressing and Shirky is too far away from Haaland in the way they're trying to press because he was there trying to play for the ball, then it goes just so quickly. So this will come, but I think it was right to start Shirky and Reinders and Nico if Rodri was not fitter to start from the get-go.
I guess we're making the generic excuses for every team that plays in the Club World Cup. Let's also point out that they haven't had that much time in training together, right?
Yeah, which is true.
Paris Saint-Germain and Chelsea. All right, let's shift back to the goalkeepers. To me, the interesting thing here is, and we said this all along, is, all right, Trafford doesn't look great with his feet, and Ederson is obviously a standout. and you're looking at Donnarumma,
Yeah.
who, of course, the Luis Enrique narrative was that, oh, he's not, I mean, I don't think Luis Enrique ever actually said this in
No,
public,
but yeah,
but
we
that
know.
was obviously coming through the club. And now, do you think Pep would change? I mean, Donnarumma may not have been good with his feet, but obviously he was good enough with his feet in terms of whole package to make him have a major impact on Paris Saint-Germain. But do we think Pep would tweak the way they play and the way they build up if Donnarumma comes in? And if he does it for Donnarumma, can he do it for Trafford as well?
No, I don't think so. I think Trafford is better with his feet than Donnarumma. If Donnarumma comes and starts, then you ask him the same thing, but you know that there are going to be a couple of passes that's going to go out for a throw or overhead or not as precise, maybe because he's not as good as Ederson, for example, with the ball. So when Ederson does 10 out of 10 passes right, then Gigio is going to do 6 out of 10 or maybe 7, but maybe you're ready to take that if you're Pep because he's the best on his line.
Especially if the ball goes out of play, in the sense that what I don't want is a goalkeeper getting caught in possession or a goalkeeper mishitting a pass to a defender and then the defender loses the ball. If he's just, here comes somebody, let me just use the big boot and maybe I'll find Oscar Bob, but then he doesn't, it goes out of play. I'm okay with that. Especially I'm okay with that because I'm Man City. Because you know what? All of a sudden, we're 60 yards up the pitch. They have a throw in, but we're pressing. That's where we like to recover the ball. I have more dynamic players this year, and Reinders and Cherky, and Bob is back from his injury and whatever, and Doku. So I'm okay with that. The key thing is, though, you can't expect Donnarumma or Trafford to hit the sort of passes to thread the needle to break the press the way Ederson did. So I think that adjustment can be made. What I'm not 100% sure on now, and it seems to be the only sticking point left, is the price, the cost of the transfer. Certainly his camp was briefing long ago that, well, he's got a year left. He's the greatest goalkeeper in the world because, of course, Vincenzo Raiola would say that. But it's like, with a year left, 15 to 20 million euros sounds fair. Does that seem reasonable to you?
Yeah, I would. I mean, PSG won twice that, so I don't know if you meet in the middle. PSG probably a bit greedy on that 40 million euros.
They're saving themselves a lot of money in salary because I'm sure
absolutely.
Chevalier makes 1/5 what he does.
Yeah, completely. I think it looks very to me like a short-termist move from Pep in the sense that I don't think Pep will be there next season. I think this is his last season with City. I think he thinks he might not fit my model and my philosophy completely. It's like signing Courtois. He would have never signed somebody like Donnarumma or even Courtois 5 or 6 years ago because he needed an Ederson type, and he got it. But now he's thinking 1 year, the guy's going to win me games on the line because he's the best on his line, which is completely true. With the ball on crosses, I can probably deal with that. Yeah, he's going to cost me a few goals. Yes, he's not the best in those two departments, but because he's so good on his line, that's fine. I take that and we can deal with the rest. And then it's just that one season because after that, I might not be. And even if he's there, it will be 2 more seasons and that's it. So, yeah, that's why I think it is. And that's why I think it will happen.
The other point on Trafford, now, as you know, I don't watch the championship, but I do speak to people who do. Last season, he conceded 16 goals in 46 games, which is
incredible.
I don't know if it's a record, but it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, 29 clean sheets.
In the modern era, right? The analytics nerds I speak to point out that he owned, in terms of XG conceded, Burnley conceded 36.5 XG last season, and he conceded 16 goals, which means either he was superhuman or there is a large element of statistical variance, aka luck, good fortune, whatever, to go with it.
Yeah.
Which is it?
I think it's a bit of both. Yeah, I really do. I think he's a really good young goalkeeper, outstanding on his line at times last season in the championship because he made some miraculous saves. The other times where they rode their luck massively, not just him, but the Burnley defense as a whole, in a team that was built around being solid defensively first and foremost. So yeah, I think there's a bit of both. Could he be a number 1 at City right now at 22? I'm not sure. They invested a lot of money on him, but is it for now? Is it for in a little while, for example? But if Donnarumma comes, Donnarumma is only 4 years older than him, so he he will be a number 2 forever at City if he stays. So I just not sure. Did they sign him thinking he's going to be the backup to Ederson for one season and then take over a bit like Mamadashvili and kind of
I
Alisson?
think that might have been the plan.
And then Donnarumma just changed everything because he became available when they maybe didn't think he was going to become available. I just don't know. But
No, I think we can take that as read because I know that, at least from what I was told, as late as sort of May, early June, Raiola's camp were very confident that they were going to be able to work something out with Paris Saint-Germain, right? And correct me if I'm wrong.
yeah.
The not just when the move for Chevalier was finalized, but even like the first approaches for Chevalier came after that, right? Sort of the breaking point between Donnarumma and Paris Saint-Germain was towards the end of June, as I understand it. So I think the other point here is from a team building perspective. If you're Hugo Viana, who now is the guy who presumably will be there if and when Pep goes.
Yeah.
And by the way, we haven't brought up the 130 charges yet, but who knows what impact that might have too, right?
Yeah.
I think the thinking is if you have Donnarumma, who by the way, plays a ton of games, but also tends to smash up his face when he does play and will miss games, and there's a lot of games this season. I think Kelleher showed that you can preserve value in a very talented number 2.
Yeah.
Even if he's not the starter. He's only 22 years old. You can bring him along. He's one of the England keepers. He's in the mix anyway. I don't think he started the World Cup if England qualified. But you can preserve that transfer value. So I get the logic there. Of course, in a year or two, you're going to have to make a decision.
Yeah.
Unless Donnarumma is just being parked there and then he's waiting. I don't know. He's waiting for Courtois to retire. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Courtois not that old, by the way. There's one other team, by the way, that's never been linked to Donnarumma, to my knowledge, and I'm just curious. I just want to get your take. It was a purely stylistic thing. Bayern have a goalkeeper who's nearly 40.
Yeah.
It seems was it weird to you that never came on anybody's radar?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
I mean, that ship has sailed, I think, right?
Yeah. Is it hard to bring Donnarumma as a backup to Neuer, though? I mean, Donnarumma would not want that. Donnarumma would want to come and be the number 1.
Yeah, but you're going to be the number 1 next year.
True, but it's a World Cup year where you don't play much if you're Donnarumma and go to Bayern now.
But Neuer's going to go skiing and get a boo
true,
and whatever.
True,
I don't know. I just thought it was. I just wondered if that was ever part of the conversation, or if they were like Vincenzo Raiola. Raiola family, no. We don't want any part of this. But they will be on the market for a goalkeeper. I mean, they've tried to groom number 2s, Parrots, whatever. It's not necessarily working so far. So I think that's definitely a situation to watch.
Yeah, they've got Rubik. That I think he's the one that will replace Neuer anyway. I don't think they see that position as a problem going forward.
Yeah, but they thought Parrots was going to be the one. They thought
Hugo
was going to be the one.
He played well. I think they see him certainly as the heir to Neuer.
As far as Spurs are concerned,
great win.
How do we see this team going forward? Because obviously they lost out on Eze. They're being linked with Piero Hincapié. We're going to talk about their other links further.
Yeah.
We both said, do they really need another center back? I
maybe,
guess Hincapié can play midfield too.
Yeah, true. Or a left back. They need back 3 maybe, which might be the idea sometimes. But the 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 in this game worked really well. Richarlison, I just don't know how much you could get him. This is very much a running team. Okay, they beat Burnley. But it's very much a running team, as we saw. Like Salah had a very good game against City in a very much athletics way, in a running way, because he didn't touch the ball that much. I think he made 14 passes in 90 minutes. That's not many passes.
For your number 10.
Yeah, for your number 10, exactly. But that was not the game. The game was not to have the ball. The game was to chase the ball all the time as much as possible, put them under pressure and hoping for mistakes that they would make, which they made. And it worked for you. It's not going to work every time, all the time, but 2 games, 2 wins in 2 different ways in the league.
And he can change it up, though.
Absolutely.
That's what I like about Frank is he's not wed to anything.
He's very
pragmatic. In other games, good. He puts big Dom Solanke in there, and they lump balls to him, and he knocks them down for other people. Yeah. He can do that too.
Yeah,
I think that's the interesting thing. Where you're going to suffer, I think, a bit is in terms of chemistry, and also the fact that certainly we saw this at Brentford too. You don't necessarily have individual standouts. It's very much a group thing, right? Even if you're Damsgaard or Ericsson when he was there or whatever. So people have to adapt to that.
Yeah.
But, it seems like he's on to a good thing so far.
Very good. Yeah.
I need to see them tested
Yeah.
in more normal
Absolutely.
circumstances.
Absolutely. But yeah, good start.
All right, enough Spurs. How about some quick hits instead?
Let's go, Gab.
Real Madrid roll to a 3-0 win away to Oviedo, and your boy Kylian Mbappe bags 2 goals, Jules.
Yeah, 2 more goals. That's 3-2 now because he's obviously scored in the opening game as well of La Liga. Rodrigo started, which was the big news, and Vinicius on the bench. Mastantuono started on the other side, and I think I like the Mastantuono pick, to be fair. I know he's young and he doesn't do everything perfect, but in this game, he defends, he runs, he tries things all the time. I think there could be a very good understanding between him and Mbappe. Mbappe, like we said on Thursday, very much the leader of this team anyway.
That first goal, pretty delicious.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good ball from Arda Güler, but there's still a lot to do from Kylian. He looks sharp. He looks great. There was still not against an Oviedo team that is not very good, let's be honest, even at home. Not much from Real Madrid outside of the goals, and 2 came late as well. So
Minute
there's still a lot to do.
the guy hits the post.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah,
I mean, only
it's not
1-0
good
up.
at all.
I think is Rodrigo starting. If you together, is this
On the left as well.
on the left
Yeah.
on his favorite position? Is this a proper audition? You think like down the road? Oh, I'm going to have Rodrigo and Vini compete for the job, or as some cynical people say, oh look, let me show the world that Rodrigo can still play. And by there, I thought he put in a lot of effort.
Yeah.
I don't think he was bad in this game. So that maybe somebody pops up and signs him.
I think it's hard for him. The guy's been sat on the bench for like 5 games or 7 games in a row, not starting, and then suddenly you start him. And yeah, it's not easy. But yeah, I don't know. It might be like, look, he's here if you want him, or it's also like, yeah, I will play you. I will play him. He's part of my squad. There will be games where I feel I need him. Maybe not every game. Maybe he's just lower in the pecking order than he was in previous seasons. But yeah, let's see. Napoli began their title defense with a 2-0 win away at Sassuolo, and McTominay as a winger, Gab.
Why not? Why not as a winger? For
scored.
Antonio Conte, you can make it work. It was funny. All their attacks obviously came on the other side, but McTominay still hit the woodwork, scored a goal, played very, very well. Kevin De Bruyne also dropping off. By the way, Kevin De Bruyne played 90 minutes. And I saw some physical stats on Kevin De Bruyne last season. Supposedly the old injured Kevin De Bruyne were actually his running numbers were tremendous.
They Serie A,
No. Last season.
Players. Yeah, no.
Premier League, Manchester City.
Yeah.
So
no, but this
I don't know.
season.
The narrative of De Bruyne, whatever. You know my thoughts on it. But
Yeah.
if he confirms those numbers in Serie A, then he's a tremendous signings. Yeah, they look good. They're still going to go for a striker. They still have this Hoyland idea. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm not sure about Lorenzo Luca.
No, we saw
lasting
in that
until
game.
Lukaku
Yeah,
returns.
it was a little bit.
Manchester United and Fulham draw 1-1 at Craven Cottage. Jules, we praised them last week. How did they look this week?
They look good for 15 minutes, and then they turned the light off. Basically, it was a good start where they had energy and they clearly had a good plan in place. They were aggressive, and then after 15 minutes, it just disappeared. They were lucky with their goal. I thought they had a penalty that was also a little bit lucky in my eyes. That should have never been a penalty. And in the end, I think, struggled. Amorim struggled to find options off the bench. Šeško came on and played 40 minutes and hardly touched the ball. So there's still a lot of work to do. But for all the positives of that opening game against Arsenal at home to this, I was disappointed. I won't lie.
Did you like that 16 minutes of Bruno Fernandes and Mason Mount as your holding midfielders?
Not really, no. I know that's when they scored. But
Yeah, they scored after 3 minutes, and then after that, dude, tighten it up.
Yeah, it didn't work at all. And that's what I mean. I think Amorim was really struggled to find option off the bench and what to do next. And still no Kobe Mainu, by the way. Several refereeing incidents in that game, Gabby, as well. Which one do you want to highlight?
Well, so the Chris Kavanagh bumping into Bruno before, where Bruno's very clever afterwards. They say, "Oh, did that put you off?" And he says, "Well, I was disappointed that he didn't apologize and blah blah blah." But that's not the reason I missed. And I'm like, bro, then just don't bring it up, right?
Yeah.
It's one or the other. Like Chris Kavanagh doesn't need to apologize to you. Who cares? Just move on, right? Unless you do think and then say, yeah, it put me off, and deal with the fact you're going to say it's an excuse, because it's not an excuse if it really did put you off. I got to talk. We talked about this last week. All these set piece coaches saying, all right, we're going to set picks and screens and run into him and do this and do that. Let's score a goal. We said it last week when Arsenal scored. Same crap this week. Calvin Bassey on Mount, yes, he wrestles him to the ground. But as he pointed out in Match of the Day here in the UK, Mount's sole job is to go and run
Absolutely.
into Bassey and screen him completely. And then, no wonder he gets dropped on his backside. Lenny Euro, by the way, 2 hands on Calvin Bassey. VAR, hello?
But
I
they
mean,
said it didn't impact.
he said it didn't impact, although the ball goes exactly where Lenny Euro is, and he heads it.
A free header, yeah.
Free header, which, by the way, he was putting wide
Yeah,
until Rodrigo
completely.
Muniz got in the way. I don't know. I think we need some guidance on this. I don't like this free-for-all. Jules, we're not done because we have more quick
Yes.
hits. Arsenal beat up Leeds United 5-0 as Victor Gyökeres gets his first goals. But Jules, Bukayo Saka and Martin Odegaard come off. That was a scary Saturday moment for the Gooners.
It was Odegaard who fell kind of awkwardly on his shoulder, and then Saka with what looked like a hamstring injury. Thankfully, the scans and the tests were quite reassuring. They're not bad injuries. They're hoping they would be fit for the game on Sunday, the big game obviously at Liverpool. So let's hope that this is working for them on the back of what was a very good afternoon overall, despite that, with Gyökeres scoring 2 goals, the first one very good, the second one being a penalty. And Arsenal, despite a bit of a slow start, just actually scoring 5 goals and smashing in and being top of the table right now before the Liverpool game.
And I will say this: I'm a believer in hierarchies and whatever else. I'm just going to re-emphasize: Arsenal they've invested a ton of money this summer. They've pushed all their chips into the middle of the table. But what it means is that even if Saka and Odegaard had to miss significant amounts of
They have
time,
options.
unlike last season,
Yeah.
Saka missing 3 months, they're covered for it. You've got Ranieri, you've got Eberechieze,
Yeah.
you've got Madueke, who of course played on the right wing for a couple of years
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
So they have so many more weapons to deal with it should it happen. Of
Yeah.
course, I'm just counting down until the best on earth, Kai Havertz,
Yeah,
returns
of
in
course.
November.
But do you remember last season we said when Odegaard was injured and Wanyeri was the natural
the
replacement.
natural replacement, not the natural replacement at right wing.
And he came on for Odegaard on Saturday, which was good to see in that position where I thought he did well as well. And Gab, there was also in that game a debut for the much hyped Max Dauman, who doesn't actually turn 16 until New Year's Eve and played for the last 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, obviously this guy, everybody's heard about him. He got going out there. He certainly looked apart. I read that he was 13 years old playing with the under 18s before. So
Yeah.
he's obviously used to playing with the big boys. He seems totally fearless. Ordinarily, and remember I said this about Lamine Yamal, there is no reason why you should be playing top flight football at the age of 15. Lamine Yamal has slightly gotten me to adjust my view on this. You just have to be 100% sure that you're ready. I think the nice thing about Arsenal having so many options is that this guy doesn't need to play. He can sit, he can train with the first team, he can learn, and when Arteta thinks he's ready,
Yeah.
or in situations where he thinks he's ready, he can play.
Yeah,
But-
he can come on like this when
Yeah.
you're 3 or 4-0 up.
Exactly.
In some
If he goes
games.
back into a closet for the next 3 months and we don't see him, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, he's
let's
development.
leave this to Arteta.
I mean, what's special for me and for us is that he played with my oldest son at the Arsenal Academy, so we saw him grow there, and he was very good younger, not as good as this, but the way he's developed in the last 2 years was just incredible. So well done to everybody involved at the Arsenal Academy.
Barcelona come from 2 goals down and get the buzzer-beating winner in injury time against Levante, courtesy of that Lamine Yamal fellow.
Yeah.
Jules, glass half full or glass half empty?
It's a new season and it's the same Barcelona, with less depth, I guess, in their squad because you can come back from 2 goals down like they did many times last season, which is a bit their trademark, although there will be games where they don't come back, and there have been games already. You can keep playing with a high line with Kubasi and Araujo and get done so many times because they could easily have been down more than 2-0. And you still have so much talent going forward. Even Ferran Torres is scoring goals. So if Ferran Torres is scoring goals, anybody can score goals. But Rafinha and Lamine especially being, again, outstanding. Pedri, with an incredible goal. It's just that. It's exactly what we saw last season. No changes.
Yeah, I didn't like the Rafinha on the left. Rafinha central to make
Central,
room for
yeah.
Rashford. I don't get it. For me, the unforgivable stuff is the Araujo thing because letting Inigo Martinez go and in these circumstances, spending that money on Rashford
Yeah.
rather than a center back, that's such a bizarro decision. Pau Cubarsí, by the way, he got done by Ivan Rakitic really
nicely.
badly. We have to remind ourselves, he's a
Yeah.
teenager.
Yeah.
He's still a
He's still
teenager.
learning.
And by the way, shout out to El Comandante Morales. 38 years young. He makes Robert Lewandowski look like a child.
Yeah. And rough start for Milan, Gabi, in Serie A. And Boniface failed his medical as well. Not a good weekend.
No. And now, Oh my God! Everybody's going Chicken Little. The sky is falling, sky low. I will say this: you lose at home to a newly promoted side.
Cremonese, yeah.
That's terrible. However, those were really. I think Cremonese's XG was like 0.13 in this
Yeah, I
game.
mean, their winning goal is incredible too.
A tremendous goal from Bonazzoli. You saw some terrible defensive mistakes, some stupid things. Allegri said we missed the perception of danger. You know what? That's fine.
Fair to say.
That is something you can learn, and I think you can iron that out. I don't think things are as bad as people make out to be. What would concern me a little bit is, all right, it's just the striker situation. This side of Jimenez isn't good. Jimenez gave the ball away for the second goal.
Yeah.
That's not good. However, you go from Højlund to Vlahovic to Boniface to Conrad freaking Harder. I think it's okay because that way you don't overshadow Jimenez. You give Jimenez a chance to grow.
Yeah.
But it's Conrad Harder, the guy who scored 5 goals in
Yeah,
Portugal
who's the
last
backup
year.
to Gyökeres with Sporting.
A totally different profile.
Yeah.
This was way back on Friday, but how about some Harry Kane love? He gets a hat trick and Bayern 6-0 win over Leipzig, who, by the way, are really, really, really bad.
Yeah,
Couldn't
and
happen to a nicer organization.
It's a tough first game of the season too. To go to Munich, to play Bayern when you've got a new manager, when you've got players who have left, players who are about to leave, maybe like Xavi Simons, who
Players
still
who don't wanna be
playing,
there.
who don't want to be there. When you're kind of rebuilding, but not really, but a little bit you are, and you start. It's not too bad of a start, to be fair. And then when one goes in, then after that, you just your head dropped, and it was a disaster. This was really good from Bayern and from Harry Kane, from Michael Olise, who was outstanding again. Serge Gnabry as a 10.
Even Gnabry, the little back
So
heel.
good, the back heel on that goal, just everything. But even the way they pressed, the way the midfield played, the centre back, it was just very good from Bayern in a game that was eased off by the fact that Leipzig were really bad indeed. And new season, all Borussia Dortmund, Gabi. Niko Kovac side at 3-1 up with 5 minutes to go against St. Pauli, and they managed to drop points.
Yeah, I'm running out of things to say. It's like they said, like, hey, let's be a parody of our worst selves.
Yeah.
So Girassi, by the way, also missing a penalty in this game.
They played quite well, to be fair.
Yeah. And then 5 minutes ago, Filippo Mane, who, by the way, is Italian, making his debut, incidentally. Yeah, sure. Chuck him in this game. Yeah, why not? St. Pauli, really poor side. But then you got the fans. There's all this rubbish on the pitch and stuff. And then they come back. They convert the penalty, and then it's...
And you knew it was coming. At 3-2, you watched the game and you said, this is coming.
It's a free goal at the end. You can't believe this narrative. They're turning to the transfer window for help. Aaron Anselmino on his way from Chelsea.
Yeah.
I have no idea how he moves the needle.
And nobody knows if he's good or not. He's never
Nobody knows if Filippo Mane is good either.
Yeah, true.
3 appearances with Italy's under 20 side.
Yeah.
Apparently, Carney Chukwuemeka, that's the other kind of big plan. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say about these guys. But sticking with that game, the other big talking point was Joe Bellingham, Jude Bellingham's little brother.
Yeah.
He had an anonymous Bundesliga debut. I think he touched the ball like less than 30 times.
Yeah.
He isn't great when you're playing in midfield. He comes off at the half. His dad didn't like it.
Didn't like it at all, Gabi, and he voiced it. But he voiced it in the stadium, like, around the dressing room, which the club didn't like at all. And we heard Sebastian Kiel saying, like, this is not for parents here. This is for players and coaches and staff and everything. Not good, and not a good look for the Bellingham family, let's be honest.
Yeah, look, I think everybody liked the fact that Jude Bellingham has a big personality and whatever. But I think what people haven't said, and people who cover the England team know this well, his parents are very involved and can be difficult people.
Yeah.
And certainly this is not the way to start your Bundesliga campaign.
Yeah, definitely. No Cole Palmer, but Chelsea still win at West Ham 5-1. Were you impressed?
It's hard to say I'm impressed because
Ham
West Ham are so bad right now.
Potter.
Great goal from Lucas Paqueta.
Yeah, that's it.
From the packet to open it.
Yeah.
What I like is João Pedro at 10. Yeah, you can do that too.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, it looks like the ship has sailed with Nico Jackson. I think they need to raise money with PSR as well. But there's a parallel universe where they don't screw around with this Jamie Gittins nonsense. And they keep Nico. He can back up your left wing, back up center forward. You've got the Lap and João Pedro to play center forward. You got João Pedro and Cole Palmer to play at number 10. You've got Cole Palmer to play right wing and William Estevao. And then all of a sudden, you've got cover everywhere.
And Neto.
Plus other dudes, plus Neto.
Yeah.
That's gone. I think they're going to try to shift Jackson at this stage. And of course, they spent the Gittins money. But this builds confidence. and lowers your Palmer dependency.
Yeah.
Also back on Friday, Paris Saint-Germain only beat Angers 1-0. But Jules, at least Donnarumma got the send-off he deserved.
Yeah, that was the moment of the night, really, because they scored Fabian Ruiz in the game where they had like 85% of the ball, which is crazy, but it still looked sloppy. But yeah, at the end, Donnarumma, who was obviously in the stands, pushed towards the ultras from his teammates to get an amazing standing ovation and thank off? No,
Send off.
Send off, that's it, send off from the ultras. Well done to him for everything he brought to the club. Juventus began the season with a 2-0 win over Parma on Sunday as Jonathan David and Dusan Vlahovic both scored.
All right, so first off, Jonathan David is legit. We know it.
Starting scoring.
Starting scoring, always involved. But Dusan Vlahovic, I think, is the story here. All summer long, and for those who don't know, he's this crazy balloon payment in the last 2 years of his contract. He's due to make stupid amounts of money, 12 million euros net, which, if you like it in pounds weekly, is in the 400 grand a week range, gross, of course. Juve can't get him to extend his contract, but they can't shift him either because he makes too much money. They've been trying all summer. They may yet do that in the window. You know my views. Rather than screwing around with this Gyökeres Sesko, I think Vlahovic would have been a better option than both of them. But hey, so they're in this weird holding pattern too, where they can't take Colomwani either because your mean friends at Paris Saint-Germain are saying, no, we loaned you Colomwani last time. You want it this time, you got to pay.
Well, no, they can have an obligation to pay at the end of another loan, but they just have to agree that. Well, yeah, but you just delay for 12 months.
I'm joking. For Paris Saint-Germain, can do what they want.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing here is the Juve narrative is like an either-or, Colomwani, Vlahovic. For me, it's very simple. 65 million for Colomwani, as well as he did last year. And by the way, I think certainly at Juve, he did better. Not at center forward, but in a wide area. For me, you choose Vlahovic every day of the week because Colomwani, if he's going to cost you 65 million, that's a major commitment to a guy who he's not young. He's not a kid anymore. What is he, 26?
Yeah.
Right? And even he's older than Vlahovic.
Even if your Colomwani and Vlahovic goes, you're still the backup of Jonathan David, who's going to start ahead of you. And then Conceição and Yildiz.
And Nico Gonzalez too.
Playing inside, which is not really your position either. So I'm not sure it's the right choice for him to go to Juve anyway.
So I've come around to the idea that if you're Juve, suck it up. Don't spend the money on Colomwani. Deal with Dusan Vlahovic for a year. See how he is. See how he integrates. Maybe he'll want to extend. It's stranger things have happened. And if he has a monster first half of the season, maybe you shift him in January. But if he wants to go somewhere else. But for me, rather than getting bent out of shape over this, I think at this stage it's a logical one. Igor Tudor needs a little bit of stability there. Also, we have to report Juventus coming out with a statement saying that Weston McKennie, who was not involved in the game or didn't play in the game anyway, he was racially abused by some visiting fans after the match during his warm down. Back to Manchester United. Antwerp keeper Zene Lamens is reportedly on his way for 17 million euros. Jules, you're Belgian adjacent.
I am indeed.
What are the implications?
I don't think anybody knows. Is he coming to be a number one? Is he coming to be a backup to who? Bayindir or Nana? Are they still trying to get rid of Andre Onana or not? Could there be another keeper arriving that is better than Lamens, who was good for Antwerp? And,
he's had 1 year, I think, as a starter.
Yeah, but he played really well last season. So I think there's some talent there. Is he better than Onana? I don't think so. Certainly not as experienced. Bayindir is slightly different, although he did okay against Fulham. So I'm not sure. I think what he shows is that yes, they want another goalkeeper, or they feel they need another goalkeeper, and that's probably how much they can spend. So yeah, you can't get Donnarumma because he's out of your price range.
Right.
Lamens will make nothing in terms of wages. But really,
so now I have three keepers, and I'm in a position where I'm going to be forced to sell one of them, right?
Well, but if he comes, it's because you know that you're getting rid of one of the other two, right?
Or you hope to,
but then you can't bring somebody if you're not sure that.
Why? Chelsea had at one point they had 9 keepers.
True, but United are not in that position financially. They can't really. So there's 5 days to go, or like 6 days to go, until the transfer window closes. And I don't know. I'm a bit lost, to be fair. Gab, we knew there would be no love lost between Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest. as it finishes 1-1 on Sunday. But Gab, what do you make of Nuno Espirito Santos saying that he and Mr. Marinakis are good friends, are not as close as they used to be?
So he gave this interview before the game and saying about how he doesn't speak to Mr. Marinakis as much,
Yeah.
and Mr. Marinakis isn't involved, and he makes a sad face. And then obviously people get briefed by somebody that, oh, look, that mean Edu is in charge, and poor Nuno isn't happy with the transfers, and blah, blah, blah. And isn't Mr. Marinakis the devil, and blah, blah, blah. Guys, Nuno, maybe Nuno doesn't read the papers or doesn't have service on his phone. Mr. Marinakis put Forest in a blind trust. He's not involved with Forest officially this year anyway. So first of all, I wish somebody would point that out, right? Mr. Marinakis, unlike Crystal Palace, who he dutifully reported to UEFA and to the Europa League to make sure that he couldn't do that with his buddy John Textor. Look, it's a funny situation. It's funny because it's Textor, it's Marinakis. What's not funny, I think, is Nuno playing the crowd. And he makes a sad face. Yeah, it's going to be fine. Da, da, da. And like, I'm like reading the English media and it's like, oh, is he being backed? Is Edu backing him? Is Nuno getting the players he wants? I'm sorry. When did Nuno become Sir Alex Ferguson? And by the way, if there's a person who knows how football works, and if there's a person who knows, and I'm going to weigh my words carefully here, how certain clubs work, because he's George Mendes's best friend, and Uncle George has helped build this team and it got him his job. Yeah. And he was with Uncle George at Wolves. If there's one person who should know this, it's Nuno. Yeah. So please, no more of this crying, right? Because without Forest putting you back on the map, you'd be a Beta Mat or something right now. Yeah. Or carrying George's bags.
He knows he's going to get sacked. So you think like, just, it's fine. Just pay me out.
Oh, but he denies. He's like, no, I'm not engineering. This is what I love. I love this club.
Yeah, but you can love a club.
I know, but it doesn't mean everybody in the media needs to get played by him, right? I think people who have the brain, they can see right through this guy. In the same way, let's face it, they can see right through Mr. Marinakis and they can see right through John Textor. And we all know what happened. But why do we have to go and play pretend?
No, sure.
Final point, there was a Crystal Palace banner up that said Mr. Marinakis was not a bunch of bad things.
Yeah.
I have no idea if they're going to get in trouble for it.
They will.
I imagine they will be. The only living Sorloth in captivity opens a scoring, but Atletico Madrid are pegged back at home 1-1 by little Elche.
Yeah.
Jules, 1 point into for El Cholo. What's wrong with Atleti so far? Is it too many Italians?
No, it can't be too many Italians. There's never enough Italians anywhere. Just not working out. We said that after the opening game of the season where they took the lead and they look okay, and then it changed things at halftime that didn't work out at all. And in a team that is already being rebuilt in a way with new signings that he's trying to make click, and it's not clicking. It's not clicking at all. His game was poor, I thought, despite again taking the lead. So now
worse, I thought, than
worse than the first game. Griezmann coming on like he did in the first game, bringing nothing to the table. There's a lot of things wrong in this team so far, and I guess it's only still August, but it's a bit worrying, no?
And the Club World Cup, although they left very early. People might even wonder whether they were actually there.
Erik ten Hag, remember him? His Bayer Leverkusen made their home debut against Hoffenheim. Gab, how did one of our favorite bold Dutch coaches do?
Really, really bad.
Yes.
Really bad. They lose 2-1 to Hoffenheim, who narrowly avoided relegation last year. Hoffenheim could have scored more, actually.
Completely. They were very good.
And what I'm wondering now with Ten Hag is, did he choose the right project? It's not easy, right? You go, and you're a boss at a big club. Yeah. Where do you... why would you go to Leverkusen? Leverkusen...
what would they employ him in too?
Okay, that's a whole other issue. But Leverkusen, obviously, they've blown up the squad. Granit Xhaka left, Florian Wirtz left, Frimpong left, Victor Boniface, they're trying to shift him.
Yeah.
Piero Hincapié might be moving as well. He's got a year left, not extending. Jonathan Tah left.
Yeah.
So you know it's a rebuild. And then you know that they're not reinvesting all the money that they raised, because let's face it, this is a club whose stadium holds 30,000 people. They're not a massive club. They don't have gobs of money. Yeah. I mean, they're a company that owns them does, but they run on a budget. So Ten Hag should have known, hey, I'm not going to go and get to spend all this money. I have to work on a shoestring. And I'm with the expectations of the guy who came before me, Xabi Alonso. So I don't know. To me, this looks pretty horrendous.
It could be a tricky season.
Pierre Hincapié linked with Spurs, who I would have thought might have enough center backs.
Yeah, me too.
But then Fabrizio Romano reporting this morning that he's linked with another team with $1 billion center backs, Arsenal.
Yeah. which again,
He likes North London?
I'm a bit surprised. He's a great talent, and because he's got 1 year left on his contract, it could be interesting.
He could play left back too, apparently.
play left
Because,
back
of course,
too.
Arsenal don't have enough left backs either. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, 36 years young, helps rescue Marseille at home to Paris FC, newly promoted Paris FC.
Yes.
Jules, they ended up winning 5-2, and now maybe Adrien Rabiot, he gets welcomed back too. What a difference an Alba makes.
Yeah, he did. He was very good in a strange game because Paris FC came back to 2-2, and you were thinking, okay, there was still a long way to go, and then they were very naive, probably thinking, yeah, we can win it now. We're back to 2-2,
And that guy Doucet is really bad.
yeah, and
For the 3-2.
and make mistakes. I mean, were completely exposed when they could have kept it tight and maybe got a point at least at the Velodrome. But hey, Aubameyang very good, and then De Zerbi reopening the door for Adrien Rabiot's forgiveness and coming back into, which is like, this is the biggest soap opera that we've seen so far this season. It's incredible.
I think this was after he'd come out pregame and he'd said, well, yeah, he did apologize. He feels really bad, but his apology came too late.
Yeah, too late, and the problem is his mum anyway. So
And Mama Rabiot going on the radio and complaining about the Zed. By the way, did Zed be saying like, oh, I don't mind the fighting. I come from the streets. I'm like, no, you don't. You're from Brescia, bro. Like, what streets? Anyway.
The Gasperini era begins in the eternal city of Rome with a 1-0 win over Bologna. Gab, were you impressed? How did they do?
It could have taken a very different turn
Yes.
if my man Santiago Castro, who was really special, the Punisher,
Very
but
good.
he ends up hitting the post. Ewan Ferguson doing well. Wesley scoring the goal,
Good, yeah.
taking advantage of a mistake. I think Bologna a little bit hard done by. But look, it's a major shift to Gasperini, and I think Roma fans need to be a little bit patient.
Yes.
He did it again, Jules. The very handsome Olivier Giroud makes it 2-2 as Lille beat Monaco. Going great at 38. How about that?
Yeah, and 39 very soon. Next month, it'll be 39. 91st minute, he scored the winner of this game, 1-0. A big game on Sunday night, of course, between Lille and Monaco. Then he had the penalty that he missed, but it's okay because he still scored the winning goal. Incredible, great turn, great first touch. Just the kind of goal that you know he's going to score forever, even when he's like 55 playing in the garden. So I'm so happy for him and for Lille. And in what was a really good game because this is a good Monaco side, even without Pogba or Ansu Fati yet. And it's a massive, massive win for Lille so early in the season, especially after they draw in the first game. Borussia Mönchengladbach draw 0-0 with newly promoted Hamburg on Sunday. But Gab, Joe Reyna is on his way to cheer them up.
Yeah, who knows? He just needs to play. Look, it's
I
too
know
easy
that,
to make
yeah.
fun of him.
Yeah, we don't want to.
But 3 million plus up to 4 million in bonuses. He says he needs a new chapter. Good luck. Certainly, I think the US are a better team with the real Gio Reyna. Just we haven't seen this guy in 4 years.
Yeah.
Jules, let's check it on Ligue 1's direct-to-consumer streaming service, Ligue 1 Pass. Because, like, guys, I know it's a boring business story, but everybody is watching this because if this succeeds, you're going to see this. People try this elsewhere. Now, they've attracted 600,000 subscribers, while DAZN, they never reached 500,000.
Yeah.
So that's good, right?
It is good. Yeah, it is good. And they have priced this right, I think. 10 euros a month, 12 euros a month, depending on who you go with, because you could go with DAZN and you've got their offer of football for the rest, for example. So it varies a little bit, but there's a great offering on that streaming site, not just the games live and on replays, but highlights, like magazine features, shows, features on former players in Ligue 1 like Ronaldinho or Thierry Henry with archives and everything. It's really, really good. And you can watch it here in the UK on the same Ligue 1 Plus streaming service that you have in France for the same price, £10. It's good. And so 600,000 subscribers was 10 days ago, I think. Now they want to do 1 million before Christmas. Ideally, they put a few offers in. If you're students, for example, if you're young. So they're trying a lot of things. And it's been quite well received. Their coverage has been decent, to be fair, with the people they have, the ex-players, the pundits, the magazines, everything.
And they need this to work because obviously I think L'Equipe, they did a rundown of the money that clubs will be receiving this year. And it's, I think whoever wins the league is going to get 4.5 million, something like that.
Yeah, no, it's bad. It's bad. So they need numbers. They need numbers. Como and my boy says Fabregas beat Lazio 2-0 as Nico Paz steals the show. Gab, he's been linked with a 70 million euro move to Tottenham, who are also looking at Monaco's Magnus Kliush.
Who would you take?
Wow. That's a good question. I think there's more versatility in Nico Paz because I think he can even play deeper. I think he can play in a lot of different positions. Whereas for Makliush, who can play as an 8, you still get a right-sided, left-footed attacking player if you want. And he's a bit older as well, not by
23, I
much,
think.
but yeah, a little bit. But at least Akliush has played Champions League football.
And also,
with
Akliush
Monaco.
is somebody who you can get because Monaco do business. Nico Paz,
Yes.
Real Madrid have, this is what I think is bizarro here. Real Madrid, they have a right to buyback rights over him. I think they go up by €1 million every year. I think it's €9 million this year to be 10 million next year. So Como aren't going to get that money if the deal gets done.
Yes.
So there's no way, and I'm surprised Spurs went as far as this if the story is accurate. There's no way that they would do a deal because Real Madrid would just drop 10 million. So,
Yeah, exactly.
why don't I get him? And then here, Spurs, you can have him on loan.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a player. There's a
if you
little
haven't seen the
highlight.
assist, if you haven't seen the assist on that in that game, it's an incredible turn and pass.
Yeah, the control with one foot, the turn
Yeah.
with the other. I mean, he in terms of technical ability,
So good. And he was very good last season too.
he was very, very good last season. Your boy Maxence Lacroix sure knows how to win friends, Jules.
It's a lovely story, this, Gabby. Basically, on this weekend, Palace were at home, first home game of the season in the Premier League, and he offered a non-alcoholic drink to all the people who were sat in row 5 at Selhurst Park, 5 being his number.
So all the way around the ground.
Yeah, all around the ground. So
Including the Forest fans.
Yeah, well, I suspect, I don't know that, maybe. Whatever block you were sat in, if you were row 5, then you got free drinks. On your seat, you had like a little voucher that you go and redeem it for non-alcoholic. Like is a hugely religious Christian, so there's no alcohol for him. So you could not have got and get a something martini.
I have to say, I'm glad that you said that he's got a religious thing in this, that he doesn't condone alcohol. If he was somebody who drinks, but he says, "Oh, let me just give him non-alcoholic drinks as it's cheaper," I would have said you're a cheapskate. But it's okay. In this case, well done.
Done. This is not his idea. I mean, I love it that like quite doing it, but this came from Patrick Bamford, who paid a drink to all the Leeds fans who travelled to Bristol City last season in the Championship. And I don't know if there were any non-alcoholic or alcoholic drinks involved. That might have been different. But certainly this was a lovely move from Lacroix. Cole Palmer's agents have applied to trademark the term Cold Palmer, as you know, obviously. But they've run into a problem.
Yeah. So, okay. First of all, I think the Cole Palmer celebration, which I think he copied from somebody. He came
Morgan Rogers,
from Morgan Rogers. Although it's more believable that Cole Palmer would be cold, just given the way the
true.
look he
But
has.
yeah, that was the celebration in the youth team at City.
So I think it's a great celebration, a great trademark. To go and then trademark it the way David Beckham and Cristiano Ronaldo, I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. Then he tried to trademark it. They applied for the trademark in court to cover wines as well.
Yeah.
And then of course there's for people in France.
Yeah, Chateau Palmer.
Chateau Palmer, who've been making wine since 1814, saying, not so fast there, young Jedi. So this is being played out in court. Easiest thing for you, Cole Palmer, or more likely, Cole Palmer's agents, just drop it. Leave the wine to the people who've been doing it for more than 200 years. Focus on other stuff. Jules, this brings us to an end.
Yes.
But guess what? On Thursday, you're going to be back.
Yep.
I'm not. I'm going to be in Monaco for the Champions League draw. But you'll be in safe hands. Yeah.
Yes. Definitely.
Until then, love the game, love your neighbor, love yourself.